Right, people, I'm sitting here with Premier, outgoing Premier, and also incoming. It looks like, if you the votes are to believe, the incoming Premier of the Western Cape, Alan Winde, someone that I got to know when I was in government years ago.
A long time ago.
Long time ago. We had good time. I remember you with your red wine, enjoying the red wine. Good guy. Alan, yes, 2024, the elections is almost over.
Yep. A long campaign.
Yeah, what were some of your reflections from this?
Like I say, I mean, I am proud of what this province's team. There are 90,000 people who work for this province. A lot of people. I'm proud of what they deliver every day, what they've achieved. So there was a great track record to work with
Yes.
going into this campaign. Although it has been a long, hard campaign. There are more political parties than ever before contesting, and so that in itself brings its own dynamic. It brings a lot more choice to citizens. But I'm also grateful and I'm humbled. The votes are, we're going to do, anywhere between 53 and 55%. I don't know when it's counted. But I think we've almost got to the point where mathematically it can't.
You can't lose.
I can't lose it. You'd have to get naught in all the next voting stations. So it's a humbling experience. I've had it before. I remember 5 years ago in this very space. I remember when Reverend Courtney Sampson stood there and said to me, Alan Winde, if your party votes for you in the legislature, you will be the next premier. And wow, then the national anthem started to play. I mean, it was an emotional moment. I always say it was a similar feeling I got to when my kids were born. It was like it's a responsibility, but it's an honor and a privilege. And that's what I feel now again. There's a massive responsibility. But, I mean, there's also... you get to crisscross the province. I've been to so many people's homes and sitting there, and I think one of the big reflections are that people are much poorer than they were 5 years ago. There's no
And
doubt.
I'm glad that you picked that up.
There's no doubt. And you know what really scares me? I mean, we've got the only province in South Africa we've got a decreasing Gini coefficient. Of course, our Gini coefficient is way too high, but it's decreasing. And we've got the lowest unemployment rate in South Africa. But still, I mean, those young boys are on the corner. And they've all got matrics, but they've got no opportunity. And that's worrisome. That growing poverty, that same household in Elsie's, in that apartment or that flat, and it's poor because the inflation rate is killing people. There's a number, 74% is what Stats SA put out earlier this week on how many households in Western Cape have a salaried earner. So 74%, that's a high number actually for South Africa. So what worries, the two things that worry me. One
Is how much does that person earn?
But imagine what it must be like in households in other provinces. I mean, that really is scary. If I looked at the number of jobs in the last 5 years, we're responsible for just short of 80% of all jobs in South Africa in the last 5 years. So, and Gauteng, they've gone backwards in jobs. So what does that do to the poverty levels? It increases the Gini coefficient numbers. And so, wow, that's even a bigger burden on your shoulder to say, how on earth are we going to fix this? And so that's what you've got to take into that first Bospraat when you meet the politicians and the administrators and you sit down and say, guys, we've got a manifesto, but this is what I picked up on the ground. Now, what else are we going to do about it? And how are we going to increase it? And what are those things? What are the challenges? So, that's just one of the aspects of what you pick up.
That you pick up, okay. And there's this. Let me follow up. I was going to ask it later, but let me follow up on that immediately following that. Is the Muslim community is quite big in the Western Cape. There's been a sense that the Palestinian issue was going to hurt you guys big time. And people are calling Muslims out and sellouts for voting DA and all of that. So I got a different view around that and so on. But why do you think that a huge number of the Muslim community still voted for the DA, where some is saying that the DA is a Zionist party or stuff like that.
Okay, so
Why did that happen?
okay, so I mean, first of all, listen. I mean, I believe in truth. I believe in honesty. I believe in integrity.
Yeah.
I've never ever strayed from this position.
Yeah.
It is absolutely unacceptable. It is deplorable. It is shocking that children and innocent citizens are being killed. I mean, it is totally unacceptable.
Yes.
And
You went public with that?
yeah, I've done it in the State of the Province address. I did it last year. You know, when this war first started, the first thing I did was I actually called for a meeting. I said I want to meet the MJC and I want to meet the Jewish Board of Deputies. Because I'm the Premier. And what is the Premier's job? The Premier's job is this province and the citizens of this province. And so I said, guys, there's massive trauma and people are feeling huge pain. And I've got two communities that are basically at war with each other. But in this province, I'm not going to pick one side over the other. I believe that we need to find a solution as quickly as possible, and actually all the killing must stop. You know, whether it's, you know, wherever it is in the world, I mean, it's just unacceptable. You know, in this day and age, we shouldn't be killing each other. We shouldn't be at war. And so, yeah, the 35, nearly, 1,000 citizens that have been killed is just totally unacceptable. And so the 75,000 people that have been killed in the Ukraine. I can't wait for the criminal court to make their judgments. And a question that I get asked, because I said that if Putin comes here, we'll arrest him. If the court finds that, either the Netanyahu or the Hamas leader, if they get found guilty, I will say exactly the same thing immediately. Immediately. I believe actually in the criminal court. I believe in it. Nelson Mandela was very involved in the setup of that court because of our past. So was Dula Omar. They played a big role. The interesting thing is that, of course, and this is where it's about truth and values, right? So this is a serious issue, a very serious issue. But it's interesting, not so long ago, the ANC was saying this criminal court is a lot of rubbish and we actually want to leave it and we change membership.
Oh, the ICC,
yeah. Because they found against Putin. I mean, come on, where's the integrity there? So I believe, and it is a serious issue, and absolutely, this needs to end immediately. We need to find a solution, and that must be done. I think that the ANC's mistake was their flip-flopping and then saying, well, this is the main issue. People are judging them not on that. People are judging them on their delivery for the last 30 years. Come on.
And they judge you guys on your delivery on the Western Cape. That's your saying?
Exactly.
That's your saying. Okay, so Alan, you said about this auntie that you go into the house and you see how poor people are, and you see that's an issue that needs to be addressed, and so on. So what will your new government do to put extra effort to address that and to narrow the gap between the rich and the poor in the province even more significantly?
So the most powerful tool to narrow the gap, the most powerful tool to put food on the table is a job.
Okay.
That's it. That is the most powerful tool. So how do we, and basically that's what I've said in the manifesto, 800,000 more jobs in the next 5 years.
That you guys are going to create.
Correct. Enable. So
But Alan, just hang on, let me just stop you there on that enable thing. I've got a thing about government when we talk about jobs or houses or so on, then we say job opportunities.
no, those are EPWP, and that's not a job.
Yeah. So that's my point. So
That is not a job.
Okay, so
That's a social grant.
Okay, so talk to me about this. What do you mean when you say job enabled?
So, I'll tell you two things here. First of all, if you look at the number of jobs, so that is Stats SA's number of jobs, people that earn a salary.
Okay.
That's the number. You've got to earn a salary.
Yeah.
It's not about a government grant or a government EPWP.
Yeah.
That is not what you're counting.
Yeah.
So
I'm so glad you say you're not going to count EPWP
you
stuff
can't.
in this thing.
You can't.
Okay, good.
So, and look at the stats SA numbers. Right. So, if you look at the last 10 years, so in the last 10 years, we are just over 400,000 jobs up in the Western Cape, with the pandemic in the middle, which was massively disastrous for employment, versus Gauteng. We are 400,000 jobs more. Gauteng are 55,000 jobs less than where they were 10 years ago. That is scary, because that's the engine room of our economy in South Africa, right?
Let's not talk about
It's
Gauteng,
failed.
let's talk about your 800,000.
And that's why 150,000 people come to this province every single year. That is our population growth. Yeah. So it is about some of its intervention from government.
Okay.
But the biggest job creator is obviously investment, right? How do you enable investment? How do you enable someone to say, I'm going to take my money that I've saved, or I'm going to borrow money from a bank and start a business, or invest in a business to grow? Now, some of it government can get involved in, and I'll give an example. We have a fund called a booster fund. So a booster fund is a fund.
The first time I hear that, by the way.
Really?
Booster fund.
More
The
than
first time.
1,000 SMMEs have been helped through the booster fund.
Gee whiz.
You must go and speak to. Do you know Marlon Parker?
No, I don't know.
Marlon Parker is recognized on the World Economic Forum as a social entrepreneur. He's in 27 countries around the world. He's just built his head office in Mitchell's Plain. He is one of the agencies that helps with the booster fund. Do you know?
Is it?
Do you know Levu Rani?
Yes.
Sululu Computers.
Yeah.
So he's got a foundation called Sululu, the Sululu Foundation. In actual fact, Marlon Parker and Levu Rani have partnered together in an organization called Entreprenext. Now, we've just put 85 million rand through SMMEs and their
Through them.
platform, because what is better? When someone comes to you and says, I've got this business idea, can you give me some money? Or when Marlon Parker, who's helped something like...
Is he a local boy, Marlon Parker?
Yeah.
Is it?
He's helped
I must
something
know
like
this guy.
he's helped something like 27,000 entrepreneurs around the world. Anyway,
So he runs a booster fund for you guys?
yes,
Okay.
and he's got an entrepreneurial platform. So I was meeting some of the entrepreneurs the other day. I met a lady from Kailicha who she's got beauty salons. She had a lot of them, like plenty. And she wasn't making any money. But then she came to the booster fund. We said, you must speak to Luvuyo and his team, their entrepreneurs in that grouping. She narrowed down like from 40 or 50 salons down to 20 odd salons. We put money into it. She's turning, now she wasn't making profit, now she's making profit. She's turning R1 million a month in Kailicha out of her businesses. There's a doctor she is from Bonteheuwel. She's a medical doctor, but she's through the foundation. She's gone using tech and an app system. She's now in countries through Africa doing health check. I was there with the boxing guys that they've helped set up these boxing gyms.
Okay.
This guy's making money. He's a profitable business. I don't know if you've been to Siki's Coffee in Kailicha.
Yes.
Now, Siki's Coffee, the exciting thing about Siki is that he started his business. He's also involved with Luvuyo in helping entrepreneurs through his foundation. And the exciting thing is when Siki, a Kailicha business, says to you, I've just opened my second branch and I'm opening in Claremont. Now, he opened again. He did open during the pandemic and he had to close because it was too difficult. And the load shedding was actually the thing that helped his business. But now he's opened again, which is really good news. And his Kailicha business is not only a coffee shop, but it's a place that does that roasts coffee now as well, and he sells bagged coffee, around the province. I think Culture Cycles.
So this booster fund.
Of course, I like riding bicycles.
Riding bicycles.
Culture Cycles, a guy that used to work for Open Streets.
Okay.
He then, during the pandemic, the place closed. He opened a cycle shop in Kailicha, then he opened a coffee shop, then he opened a bakery. These are the guys that will help because that's how you create jobs.
Okay.
As well as obviously the bigger stuff. So the bigger stuff is, when a big business invests, Amazon, or at the moment in green hydrogen, we've got 3 companies now investing. They're sitting at 110 billion and there's another 4 in the pipeline for green hydrogen in Saldanha.
So all of that's going to create 800,000 jobs. What's the job opportunities?
That's the target, is
Okay.
800,000 new jobs in the economy in the next 5 years. That's our target. So how do we create? I'll tell you what we've done in the past to get to the numbers that we've got. So tourism is a big job creator in our province. 12 years ago, I started the airlift program. So what triggered it? SAA withdrew the London Cape Town direct flight. You remember when that happened?
Yes, yeah.
Stupid. Why
I
did
think
they
it's
do
back
it?
now.
Why did they do it? They sold the slot. They sold the slot to pay salaries. I mean, it's like selling your coffee machine to pay salaries, and now you don't have a coffee machine, so you can't make coffee anymore. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So when they sold that slot, they also had an air partner through the alliance. So Lufthansa, Cape Town, Frankfurt was stopped as well. Now there are 2 airlines stopped coming to Cape Town. What does that do? Kills tourism jobs, taxi jobs, bakery jobs, hotel jobs, you name it. So I remember getting on a plane. I flew to Munich. I spoke to Lufthansa and I said, you've got to put a flight back onto Cape Town. And they put a Munich-Cape Town flight. Then we said, hang on a second, here's an opportunity. We started the program. We said we want to attract 4 flights to Cape Town. How do we do it? We put 7 million aside. We started the program. We employed some guy out of Schiphol Airport because that's what he did. He attracted flights. This December, move on 12 years. This December, 215 direct flights into Cape Town per week from different destinations straight to Cape Town, not via OR Tambo. 33,000 international arrivals per day on average during the peak season, and 1 million visitors over the season through the airport.
So it creates a huge amount of jobs.
That creates jobs.
Multiplier.
Investment, opportunity is how you enable, and that's our government enablement.
Okay.
I set up Green Cape.
I
Remember
understand
Green
that.
Cape?
No. How's Green Cape going?
They're international now.
Goodness
And
gracious.
you can meet them in international markets in Europe,
Oh.
and they're still called Green Cape, but they're
Is it?
operating out of countries in Europe.
I
It's
know Green
exciting.
Cape. I know Green
It's
Cape is very
exciting.
good. Alan, can I ask you this? The other thing now is, nationally, I think the political landscape is changing in this country. It's going to change. I predicted that, and I think it's the ANC's way low 40s. Coalition government is going to be the order of the day. I'm still a proponent for governments of national unity and government of provincial unities to get us out of the quagmire that South Africa is in. That I think because I think there are good people in all the parties. You guys got some good people, the ANC, even in IFP, maybe in Patriotic Alliance, maybe I don't know all of the people. In different parties, there are good people. Action SA and all of that stuff. So my sense is I think we need to have a government of national unity and provincial unity. And there must be certain thresholds so that you get some of the parties to work to put their interests aside. The election campaigns are finished. Put South Africa on a new trajectory and work on what kind of South Africa we want, and is creating jobs and all of that stuff. So I want to ask your view about that, because that will lead me into the question I want to ask about the coalition governments.
So
You're part of the federal council.
on the council, yeah. Of course, the federal, not the federal executive. I'm part of the federal council.
Okay.
And of course, the federal executive meets on Sunday, but the federal council will meet in a week's time.
Okay.
But it's a difficult question because. Well,
But we've got to deal with the difficult questions.
No, I get that. I'm going to answer you now. So, we've had a government of national unity. We've had one before.
Yeah.
We've also had a coalition government for a very long time called the ANC, the Labour Unions, the Communist Party. That is a grouping of different organizations, right?
No, but they're not the same as.
No. But just listen to what I'm saying. And remember the government of national unity.
Yeah. Government of national and provincial unity.
Yeah, but at that stage,
Yes.
in the early part of our
94,
democracy,
94,
we had a government of
95,
national unity.
yes.
at that stage, the party, my forefather party, had 1.7% of the
Yeah,
vote,
yeah.
and they took a decision to say,
Not
in
to
a
go in.
democracy, we must have an opposition in parliament.
Yeah,
You can't have everybody governing.
yes.
It doesn't work like that
Yeah,
in a
yeah.
democracy. Democracies around the world don't work like that.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's feasible to say, okay, well, let's actually get all the parties to sit around the table, and only the good people in the different parties
No,
can actually...
no, Alan. Let me clarify it rather for you. I'm not saying all the parties. I'm saying the parties, they must have a certain threshold.
Oh yes, I agree with that.
Certain threshold.
Because then you
If
can't have this one-man party
If
calling
you
the
have,
shots.
if you have 10% at least of the national vote, or whatever it is, 10 or 15%, then we say you guys form the executive. The others must still be oppositional and all of that. So I'm talking there must be a threshold. I'm not saying all of the parties.
If there's no majority.
Yeah. If there's no majority.
Because, I mean, democracy...
And my sense is there's going to be no majority. Oh,
Yeah,
no,
yes.
no 50%.
Yes, but then
plus.
are you saying that then what I should do in the Western Cape, even though I've got a majority, is I should actually join up the other parties in the Western Cape as well?
If there's a threshold.
Yeah, I see, I don't agree with that. Because then, every time you want to do something, so I'm going to say, I'm going to have a new policy, it's growth for jobs, this is what we're going to do. You're going to spend 6 months arguing about that
No,
policy.
you can't. Alan, you can't. It never worked like that in the government of national or government of provincial unity.
No, but I look at global democracies.
No. I'm looking at how it worked practically.
Yeah, we have to apply those principles.
Yes.
So we've got coalition governments in this province. Sheepers, they're shocking.
No. That's a shocker. That's why I don't even want to talk about that, because that's why I know it's shocking. So therefore, I want to ask your view
And
from a
those parties that are running those shocking governments would actually be part of that grouping that you're talking about, because they've got enough votes actually
but
at a national level.
In any case, but then the wise people needs to steer the ship. And I'm just saying, from the position that our country is in,
So
we in a hugely problematic situation.
So that is the challenge.
And
party
wait,
leaders,
just hang on, Alan, because I want to assist you. And because I think some of the stuff that you're saying about job creation, creating jobs and stimulating the economy, etc., could find favor with the others who's sitting in that thing. So now you may respond. So it is that, and if Party X has got 15%, etc., Party X is most now governed, but there's most a principle, there's code of conduct and all of that stuff,
So I think it would be very difficult. But not that we have to do it.
Yeah.
There's no choice now.
Okay, thank you. You
There's
agree
no
it must
choice.
be done. I agree.
But the choices are who's going to form that
There we
coalition
go.
and how are they going to form the coalition. But, I mean, let's just say, for example, that you say, all right, fine. So then the DA, the ANC, the EFF, and the MK
and PA.
the Patriotic Alliance. There's
Yeah.
your coalition
Yeah,
government. Wow.
Going to be interesting.
It's going to be a fight like you cannot
No,
believe.
it's not necessarily. The adults in the room must stand up. That is.
But you've got opposite ends of policy ideas.
No,
Total
but-
opposite ends of policy ideas.
I'm just saying, let's have that discussion and see if it is feasible. If not, because I think that's what South Africans are looking. I mean, the voters spoke out here. They don't want all of these smaller parties and so on. I mean, some got 400 votes, some got 1,000 votes, etc.
I promise you, they'll be back in 2 years.
But I mean, I want to ask you about that. But in any case, we've got the government of national and provincial unity. You got a
Okay, but
philosophical
that is the current discussion, and
That
of
must take
course,
place.
That's happening right now, I'm sure.
I think we want that to happen.
That's happening right now, I'm sure.
So besides that, Alan, then there's an issue now of coalition governments, right? Which is in the Northern Cape there must be a coalition because the ANC got 49. That's called already. Gauteng there might be a coalition. KZN might be,
Correct.
and obviously national government. So, and you guys got a multi-party charter with some of the other parties.
So
how?
of course, I think that's probably the next move. Is the multi-party charter will meet,
Yeah.
and then they'll say, all right, now this is our mandate. Now what are we going to do? What's in
Yes.
the best interest of South Africa?
It's
And
good.
how do we go
That's
in?
going to be a tough call
Exactly.
because in some
Even in that space, it's going to be a tough call.
in some instances, let me tell you, I think the way I read the tea leaves, I don't believe in reading tea leaves in any case.
It's just safe.
Yes, is that the DA might have to take the tough decision and tell some of your multi-party colleagues, guys, we think it's in the interest of South Africa or subliminally in your party's interest to go into coalition with the ANC nationally for the sake of the country, and then your coalition parties are not part of it. How are you guys gonna
So that's the
deal
diffi-
with that?
That's what I've just said. That's the difficulty because you've got an agreement. You
Yes.
can't break those agreements because that's
Yes.
about trust and ethics in
Yeah.
politics. And those are the difficult things. That's why this is going to be such a difficult thing. And then, of course, so that's the one thing, the multi-party, the ANC DA potential. Then, of course,
The
there's
potential, the
there's
ANC MK.
There's the ANC MK potential. Is that feasible, or is people going to want to kill each other? That's why we're in a very difficult situation. But we and you said the word, the adults in the room. I agree. The adults in the room have got to sit down and make proper decisions. We also do need to look at our constitution 14 days for the future of South Africa after an election count is announced is too little.
Yeah.
I don't think that we should take as long as some of those governments take 6 months. I think that's too long. But we need to look at changing that. I think we need thresholds. I agree with that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, German thresholds, I think they're 2%.
Yeah.
That is probably a
Probably feasible.
2%, 3%. I mean, I don't think it can go higher than 5% because otherwise that takes democratic rights away. I mean, but we've got to learn from best practice. I mean,
Yes.
we've already started at UWC. We had that
Yes.
that conference where we started this.
It was
discussion
almost stillborn.
as a country. But that we've got to take that
We gotta
work and
take that.
now we've got to
Yeah.
got to put it in place and to act.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this new parliament, in however it forms, that's got to be one of the first orders of business. Is say let's create this platform because the next in 2 years' time. We must have the same platform already in place for local government elections. That's the next is the next local government, and those local governments where the kingmaker's been the one seat party who is not really accountable to his or her voters. They make crazy decisions and chop and change, and that's also about instability. And we don't want years and years of unstable government. Because that takes us, I mean, cheapers, we're in a bad enough shape as it is. The highest youth unemployment rate in the world. I mean, we need to address that quickly.
Yeah. Alan, just what do you think as an incoming premier? What's the kind of message you would want to give to young people in this province? Black, white, pink, yellow, whatever. Because many of these kids, especially my kids also, they didn't really know apartheid back in the day. But as they went into school, they started to get exposed to the division. And it's because us as the parents had brought it to the fore and so on. What message would you want to give them a sense that, listen, this Western Cape belongs to you, whoever you are?
So, I mean, that is a really great question. First of all, I want to say that I'm actually quite encouraged and I'm looking forward to analysing the data. I think we've had more young people voting in this election than South Africa's ever seen before.
Yep.
I was seeing those queues. I was seeing the university spaces. Wow, a lot of votes. Sometimes interesting votes. I mean, I'm always interested as to how the EFF actually does well amongst university students. I mean, it's interesting. I'll tell you a nice, interesting queue was in the Parklands area.
Okay.
That had the longest queue, right?
Is it?
They voted after midnight.
Where
In those queue.
and a lot of foreign,
Parklands.
so-called foreigners actually live out in Parklands nowadays.
Yeah, but I mean, they weren't standing in the queue because there was
yeah.
voters in the queue. But that was when I walked down that queue.
And that was a microcosm of South Africa.
That is the South Africa you want to see,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That is our future. There it is. the
And that's
boundaries are
a
broken.
Western Cape
and
that you want to see.
the boundaries are broken. There's people, and they are the pink,
All
white,
colors,
black,
shapes,
green,
and all of that
brown,
stuff.
Every religion, you name it, and they all standing in a queue.
Constantia should
having a
become like that
great
more.
time.
Alan,
that's
Constantia and
that is the future,
Atlantic
right?
Seaboard should become more like that.
Exactly. It
So,
is-
so you're sorry I interrupted you about the message you want to relate to them.
So
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, it's exciting, and it's the world over that they battle to get young people into elections. But I think because our country is in a position that I think young people are saying, okay, well, bugger this. I think maybe young people find it hard to choose a political party. And we as political parties need to also engage more with young people to say, what is it that you want to see more of? So we do attract more younger people. And obviously the global phenomenon is that when people get much more involved in voting is when you have got something to lose.
Yes.
In other words, you're a taxpayer, you're a ratepayer, you've got debt, so then interest rates interest you, rates and taxes interest you, VAT interests you, because those are the things that hurt you or you have to contribute to every month, and that's difficult. When you don't have any of that, it's, well, what difference? But why did it change in this election, and what were those causalities? Now, I don't know what they are yet, but we've got to go and analyze them. Just as we've got to say, so what are we going to do to bring about faster change in narrowing the gap? Or those are the challenges that we need to take into those first committees, those first bospirats, those first sort of. We now have to table. Remember, we've got to table our PSP now.
Yes.
There's something else that I want to do in this province, which I've learned from mainly from Helsinki. You know that in Helsinki, when you table your 5-year plan, like we have to, our PSP must be tabled, you have to table your 100-year plan with your 5-year plan.
Sure.
Now, we have got a long-term plan. Trevor
30 years
Manuel put a lot of work into our vision.
And where did it go?
But we stuck it in a bloody shelf somewhere. And that's unacceptable. We have to make sure that we get that part right. And so I'm saying, how do we get a 50-year plan that gets tabled with the PSP at the same time? You're looking for a job, Cameron?
No, is it the interview?
I did. I'm actually on an interview here.
Okay, we got Cameron. Come here. We got Cameron Dugmo coming to say hi here to me and Alan. This is Rod. It's Rod's views.
This is Rod's views.
Yeah.
Cameron, what are you saying? Alan is offering you a job in his office.
No, I'm going to the National Assembly.
Are you hiring up on the list?
I hope. Okay.
We'll talk later, Cam. Thanks. So Alan, can I suggest something to you? Maybe you don't need to take it up. It's I'm on this thing, and I think South Africa needs a CODESA that transcends the political parties. A national CODESA, general, and then an economic CODESA to talk about how do we deal with the economic challenges, creating jobs and supporting business and all of that stuff. So,
Isn't it going to just be another talk show?
No, but
you turn it into action.
it doesn't need to be a talk show. I'm just putting the suggestion to you. If national government don't do it, why don't you consider? I'm quite keen to talk to you some more. That the Western Cape take a lead in that you include all of these parties that's in your legislature, and you invite others. You invite universities and civil society and so on into a discussion around the kind of Western Cape that you want. Because remember, you're now the premier of all of us, no longer
absolutely.
no longer the DA. So that you can get buy-in by all of the people in terms of the way that you're going. Is that something that you...
I'm always open to that kind of discussion. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's good. So, Alan, then another thing that I want to pose to you, when we're done, is our politics is fractious. People see the goings on in Parliament, so they don't take it serious anymore.
Shocking.
what do you think about the possibility or the approach that the Speaker of Parliament don't come from the ruling party?
Yeah, that's or that the speaker is
Or the-
elected differently,
Yeah.
or that the speaker. I mean, in some countries, the speaker resigns from their political
Yes,
party
yes.
when they become the speaker.
There we go.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to think about that
Yeah.
because.
So why don't you guys start it here in the Western Cape? You guys have got your own constitution also. You guys can do it.
You know, yeah, we
And,
can.
and you lead by example.
So you know that's exactly what we did when, okay, not the speaker position, but the ANC held Scopa chair for the last 5 years.
No, that's good.
When I came in as premier, I said, no, give Scopa to the official opposition.
Yeah.
So Lulama Mvimbi has been the chair of our Scopa so the opposition has held that because that is the key oversight of a government. And we did it immediately. There's no other parliament or legislature that does that in South
But you guys must make noise about it. I didn't even know that. You know, talk to your communication people.
Listen, you know, how much money must you spend on communication, or must you spend money on the next lady's house? You know,
Yeah.
correct. So you can't spend too much money blowing your own trumpet. You must get the balance right, and there's a lot of need.
Okay. Alan, so thanks. This is a podcast, Rod's Views. So I'm gonna send it to you.
Cool.
There's a few things that you've agreed to here. Hopefully you'll keep to it. I like the thing about that you're open to the speaker.
So do you know? Well, I'll have to take that to our caucus.
Yeah, you
but-
must take it
but
to your
do you know-
caucus. But you're the boss man.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, we've got a democratic system. Do you know about First Thursdays in our government?
I know about that first. I came to one. I came with a friend of
we're
mine.
the only government that I've found in the world that does it.
No, that's a good thing. No, that's a good
I've
thing.
been doing it for 7 years, and the government's been doing it for 5 years now.
No. I think it's a good thing. I think that first Thursday is on in Berg Street. Is it Bree Street or Berg Street?
So
That's also a good initiative.
it's but it's not only there because you've got to take it out. So we take it to different municipalities or different parts of the city. I've taken it to Mitchell's Plain, to Delft, and we've taken it to to Pakkelsdorp, and I'll take it also to other places. If the cabinet goes somewhere for a Bosparade, then we make sure that there's a town somewhere there, a town hall where we actually hold the first Thursday. So that citizens must know that at the very least once a month you can actually get to see someone if they don't answer the email.
Okay, Alan, it was nice chatting with you, man. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.